they said the more we know about other victims, and the more the FBI can control that, then that's more information that'll go. Basically, there's a confidential report that's written. Okay, and that's why she needs some of this background. It's confidential. The public doesn't get it. Okay, it doesn't ever get released. We've worked other death penalty cases, other homicides. The report never gets released. But in that report, you have to include all the details, like the statutory aggravators. All right. So the more things that are in that report, then the decision gets made easier. You told me the other day, that if once everybody knows the full extent of your crimes, then they're going to have no problem finding the death penalty. So the more we can put
I was
in that
referring
report,
to the ones I've already talked about.
Okay. Well, then that was my mistake. I was thinking it was more details about other things.
I'm not going to talk about here. I've already. Here's my thing. I've talked to you about things that I suspected were going to be tied to me anyway, sooner or later. I knew as soon as it became apparent that I wasn't going to be getting out of custody for a while, that you would have enough time, and there was a good probability that I would be tied to these other things that we've been talking about. There are some more things that I will talk to you about, but I'm not going to talk about anything on the scale that I have so far until we have a deal, an agreement. And the reason for that is I believe that, like I've already said, for the most serious crimes that I've already talked about with you, there is not a jury in the country, or probably very many judges for that matter, who wouldn't give me the death penalty for those alone. And so in my mind, that is the starting point. That's what we have to work with right now.
Here's another. Well, let me just give you more factual information so you can be informed. You know, if you read the news, there's a movement around the country right now to revoke the death penalty.
Right.
They've just done it in New York was voting, I think, yesterday. It's up in California.
Right.
So I hear what you're saying about how there's not a judge or jury in the world based upon what you've told us so far. But I can't say that I completely agree with you given the movement that's out there. I don't need to debate you. We don't need to agree. But I just want you to know that there's other forces out there that are moving in a different direction right now along the country. So it is true. It is a fact, and I feel confident in this. The more that you tell us, the more information that'll go into the statutory factors to be considered. That's just a fact. And so I want you to know that.
Maybe it doesn't even have to be, through some details. I mean, what we can put in that confidential report to the Attorney General is a number, for example. I mean, that was going to help things go along.
Similar to the Vermont case. I mean, we don't know the details on that. We just know just enough facts to present. So that's kind of just what we're throwing out to you today. That's why we wanted to give you that information.
Well, I'll think about it, but honestly, first of all, if you're saying right off the bat that it's not going to happen within a year, then I'm losing interest in the whole thing anyway. So,
well, I didn't say it's not, but I wanted you to tell you what the information that I got. I remember when we sat down today. I said I'm going to tell you what I know, and I'm going to be reasonable, and I wanted to tell you the information I'm getting about how long this process works, no matter, even if it's what they call, I guess the terminology, I didn't know this, Israel, but people refer to this sometimes as someone who's volunteering or wanting the death penalty. And even in those cases, it doesn't move within a 12-month time frame, or it hasn't done that. I'm telling you that not because I'm trying to drag anything out. Believe me, I'd like you to sit here and tell me everything you knew, and we'd, boom, boom, we'd be done with this, and we'd be moving on to some judge or jury to decide what happens to you. But we know that that's not realistic.
It's not.
We've got psych evaluations. We've got, this isn't something we decide. You're going to have judges involved, and you're going to have law enforcement agencies around the country who are going to be sifting over the data from the computer. Right now, we've got it controlled in the FBI. Do you want to keep control of this?
Of course I do, but what you're saying is talk more and you'll keep control, and I know for a fact that's not the way it'll work.
It has so far.
Look, we're talking about stuff that didn't happen that long ago. I mean, look what happened already with the Curriers. The house was demolished. They're having to dig it up. You know, I mean, and you're talking about
What's your
years
goal?
ago.
What's your goal here?
You're talking.
To keep stuff from us or to help us move forward?
I want to help you, but you know, if you're only if there's something in it for me. I don't have any moral. I don't feel any moral sense of obligation to tell you anything.
We didn't give you the
I've
moral argument.
already told you why I've told you what I've told you. So I mean,
I just want to know what your goals are so that I can make sure I understand them now and moving forward. And you've told me, and that's the way I started with. And I want to tell you, you know, what I understand to be the process. So if your goal is not to hide these things, but rather move forward with, you know, whatever sentence and punishment is coming your way, then the more information you have, the better. That is just a fact. You choose.
I will give you all the information that you need on the cases that we've already talked about. I will give you all of that. And I will give you some other information as well.
Is there a reason why you wouldn't tell us about other bodies?
I never said there were.
Are you telling me that there are not?
I'm not. I told you I would talk to you about the things we've already talked about. I'll give you all the details. And that is, you know, that's... I think that's perfectly reasonable for what I'm asking.
I just need to build the strongest case.
You have a very
Possible.
strong case. Once I know we can't talk about anything that happened in Alaska. I know that. But, you know, just give it a week or two or whatever it's going to take for me to be indicted, and, you know, you'll have what you need to...
Well, let's put that...
We won't even have to mess with any of this other stuff.
We're not talking about that. We're going to talk about
Right.
the couriers and anything else.
But I can't even talk about the couriers yet.
Yeah, you can. It's up to you.
No, I mean, I'm just saying I can't. I mean, they haven't even found the bodies yet, so I mean, why would I talk about it now?
What I said before is the more facts that we know, the more that can go into the memos that we eventually have to write.
What? Okay, how about
control
this?
the media.
What about other felonies?
We know about the bank robbery in Texas. We know, I mean, I don't think that's the scale of the kind of stuff that is going to move this process forward, right? I mean, we haven't even mentioned that because why? Because I don't think it's going to help.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to bring up any ancient history stuff. I told you I'll give you a timeline of everywhere I've been, and if you want to try and track down if you want to try and do that.
It's not. I guess it's not a matter of me personally wanting to try. It's just a matter that you know that every local agency around the country is going to do that. And maybe they won't find anything, but in the process, they're going to have to do some of the things that you told me you didn't want to have happen. So, you know, that's just information for you.
Well, if they want to do that, that's their...
Yeah,
you have to understand that, you know, you keep saying we've been reasonable with each other, and, you know, like I say, this is a one-way street, because I know you don't control all these other agencies, but they also need to understand that I already know what they're going to find or what they're not going to find, and they don't know that. So if they really think that, or if you think, or if anybody thinks they can dig through my past and of all the places I've been, of all the people I've known, they're going to find the one little whatever that's going to tie me to something, I can't stop them from thinking that. But that doesn't mean I'm going to, you know, and you're talking about them talking about to people I know, and you already know that's not something I want. So if I start hearing back that they're grilling every single one of my family members or relatives everywhere I've been, do they really think that's going to make me want to talk?
Well,
I don't think so.
Well, I guess I'm trying to understand what you're telling me, because I think you told me, well, I don't think you didn't want to share additional information. If you share it here in this room...
I will share additional information, but only if I get what I want.
And how are we going to get where we want to go without you know, isn't it kind of a two-way street?
It
Really?
is,
Okay.
but yeah, you got to work with what you have.